guys, Kelsey here. Welcome back to my channel. Now, I know in previous videos I said that I wanted to keep, kind of a strict upload schedule where I upload once a week, maybe on a Thursday or a Friday. I broke that, obviously. So I've been kind of inactive for a couple weeks, but I think I'm gonna try and stick with a schedule, but maybe it won't be every week. Maybe it'll just be once every few weeks or a couple times a month. Whenever I have something I want to say, I'm just gonna hop on the camera and not really take the joy away from it, because I don't feel like I'm at my best creatively when I am following such a strict schedule. I feel like when I'm spontaneous and I'm just inspired, that's when I release my best products. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, in case anybody was wondering. Today I wanted to talk about a topic that I believe so strongly in, and that is the importance of following your dreams. Cue inspirational music now. I'm not going to talk about it in some overly hokey, sentimental way, but I just want to kind of look at it from, a realistic standpoint. I think it's important to follow your dreams for many reasons, and I'm talking from my own experiences because I've mentioned this before, but my dream is to be a writer and a novelist in particular, and it's not the most, I guess, realistic dream, if you want to use that term. It's not the most stable and dependable dream, and a lot of people tell me that all the time. The other day I was sitting in a coffee shop and I was writing, because I always take a little notebook and write in it on my breaks from work, and this guy sat down beside me and started talking to me. I don't know if he was hitting on me, but I mean, who knows, maybe he was. And then he asked me what I was doing, and I told him, well, I'm working on my first novel, etc. And he's just like, ooh, you know how hard it is to get published. My friend tried to get published and nobody would look at his book, and he's so good at what he does. And I was just like, buddy, please chill. If you're trying to hit on me, if that is what you're doing, then don't insult my choice of career. Don't demotivate me. That's not how you're gonna get my attention. Lots of people tell me how unrealistic it is, or maybe I should try for something more attainable. But you know what? You gotta look at it this way. My job hunt as a 20-something-year-old woman, I should say, it hasn't been easy. Ever since I graduated from university, I've applied to, I think it's 177 jobs, if I'm not mistaken, and these jobs have been all over the map. I've applied to be a server, I've applied to be a secretary, I've applied to be an editor, I've applied to be a proofreader, I've applied to be a writer for marketing companies, I've applied to be an admin assistant. I even applied to this scheme company, and it was one of these companies where they go around selling furnaces, I think it was. I don't know, but you didn't get paid unless you made a sale. So essentially you were working for free, and it was long, hard hours, 12-hour days, 14-hour days, and for no pay unless you made that sale. And I applied to this company, and I didn't even get hired for that company. I'm like, damn it, I can't even work for a scam company? Holy shit. You name it, I've applied to it. It's to the point now where I'm just gonna fucking close my eyes, oh, livestock birther, apply, at this point, I will be elbow deep in a cow's vagina, I don't care. It has not been easy. The competition out there for every single position, it doesn't matter what it is, it's so fierce. Like every single one of those jobs that I mentioned, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people applying for those jobs. You know, I've applied to be a bank teller, like you name it, and there's just hundreds or thousands of people applying for this same job. And a lot of these places don't accept resumes if you walk in and personally hand it to them, so you have to do it online, and 98% of the resumes aren't even read online. They have these search terms for these resumes in this database, and if your resume has that search term, like maybe they'll read it. I read an article about this guy who started baking cookies, and he put his resume in the cookie box, and he dressed as a delivery man, and he was going around to companies in the disguise as a delivery man to get his resume read. And it's just like, that's the state of the job market. Like, you have to be so gimmicky in order to just get your resume looked at. So I applied to this restaurant, and they asked me, what's your greatest accomplishment? And I said a bunch of things that I accomplished in university. You know, I got published in the newspaper. I have an essay featured in a library downtown. And I told them I'm almost done a book. And they told me, oh, you know, like, we hire people who we know are gonna stick around for a long time, and if you seem too qualified, then we won't hire you. Like, you're not a viable option to be hired. But on the other hand, I've applied to jobs, and they tell me, oh, you're not qualified enough, you don't have the right experience, you don't have the right education. Yeah, and everyone's looking for experience. I remember I applied to be a data entry, it was a data entry position, and it said you needed 7 years data entry or whatever, and it's like, I'm sorry, does anyone really stick in data entry for 7 years? Like, I feel like that's something you work in and then work your way up. Out of the womb, you're expected to have 35 years work experience, you know? Like, if I need the proper work experience, like, put a fucking hard hat on me when I'm a fetus, because, like, I can't get that experience. You're either not qualified enough or you're too qualified. So there's this like muddy gray area where you need to be accomplished and impressive to the potential employers, but you can't be too accomplished or too impressive, because then they're afraid you'll leave them and look for something better. And it's just so, like I said, muddy, and you never really know what people are looking for. And it's to the point where you need these certain 10 keywords in your resume, but no one really knows what those are, and it's just like, frig, you're like, your resume's like bloody Morse code. You're like, you have to read between the lines, put the right words. Like, it's like, nothing is simple because there's just so much competition. And the thing about the planet is that the human population is growing at an unprecedented exponential rate, and the jobs aren't being created to accommodate this spike in population. And what's worse is the jobs that do exist are being replaced by automation. I read an article the other day that said in the future in banks, 42% of employees are at risk of losing their jobs to automation in the banking industry. And think about the banking industry and how huge it is, and how many thousands upon millions and millions of people that it employs, and such a huge chunk of people are at risk of losing their jobs. It's a very, very scary, I guess, climate for job hunting and for job prospects, and it is really tough. But the thing is, I like to try and turn negative situations into positive ones. And you know, you can look at the current state of the job economy, you can look at it as a blessing or a curse. And obviously it's a curse because it's so hard to get a job, because it's so hard to establish yourself and become an adult, you know, like adulting. Like, I wish there was a fucking manual on how to adult, because like I need it. It's hard to get a job, and that's why it is a curse. But like I said, I like to put a positive spin on it. So I mean, maybe it's a blessing, because if you think about it, let's say you're trying so hard to be a secretary, administrative assistant, and there are thousands upon thousands of people competing with you for that one single job. So it's like, It's like, it's hard to get any job these days, no matter what it is. There was a time when it was relatively easy to get a job that would pay the bills. It was relatively easy to get a job that would guarantee you a good life. It was easy to get a job that guaranteed you an income where you could start a family and just live comfortably. There was a time, you know, you went to school for something, I guess you can say, practical. You got out there and you had multiple job offers. And my parents tell me about a time like this. They tell me how easy it was for them to get jobs and how simple it was back then. So if you kind of were going after a dream that was seen as kind of unattainable, it was seen as silly, because if you can go to school and then have a good paying job right off the bat, why would you chase some silly pipe dream where you probably won't succeed at it? That was the argument. If you can be guaranteed a good life, why would you waste it? So yeah, people didn't really respect, I guess, people who went for that unconventional route. I always like to say, just because the path you follow is an unconventional one doesn't mean it's less valid or less important or makes less sense. Nowadays, it's like, it's so hard to get a job that will get you that steady income. It's so hard to get a job that won't get you a steady income. It's so hard to get employment, period. So it's like, you can chase the job that won't even really be able to pay your bills, but you know, you'll get a foot in the door in a company, and who knows, you know, maybe you'll get a raise, maybe not. It's not something that you ideally want to be doing. Like, you have no passion in it. It's just not something that you enjoy. Or you could spend that effort following your dreams, because it's equally hard to reach either goal nowadays. When you look at this job climate, it can almost be seen as a blessing, because it gives you that excuse to go out and follow your dreams. And you know, people aren't gonna, I mean, you still will have naysayers who do look down on you and do tell you it's a bad idea, etc., etc. Like, there will always be those people, but there won't be as many, because in order to make something of yourself nowadays, like, you need to think outside the box. And those people who think outside the box and who either, you know, create a new business or a new enterprise, or, you know, someone who's creative in other ways, just if you think outside the box, like, that's where a lot of people are finding success. Not many people will question your decisions to follow your dreams, because they'll realize it's hard to get any job. So I get why she wants to be that writer, or why she wants to be that entrepreneur, or why he wants to be that actor, or, you know, what have you, friggin' ballet dancer, the nutcracker, like, whatever your dream is. People won't question why you're chasing it. Maybe this is naive of me, but I personally believe that if you have a dream or if you have a goal, that's almost like your subconscious telling you that that's the right path you need to take. Like I said, I want to be a writer, and I've always wanted to be a writer since I was a little girl, since I was old enough to hold a pen. Like, that's just all I really wanted to do, and I can't help but think that it's my heart and my subconscious telling me that that is what I'm meant to do. Maybe I haven't really been hit with that harsh dose of reality yet, but I would rather be naive than settle in my life. I'd rather be broke and working towards my goal than comfortable and stuck in a mundane job that I have no passion for. Because what is life if there's no passion in it, or creativity, or self-expression? At the end of the day, when you're at the end of your life, and if you've lived it in a job that's possibly made you a lot of money, but you really had no love for, then what do you have to show for it? Whereas if you tried tirelessly for your dream and for your goals and you achieved it, you can feel proud of yourself. Or even if you didn't necessarily achieve what you wanted, you know in your heart you can rest easy knowing that you did everything in your power to go for it, and you won't live with regret. You won't live wondering what if or what could have been. And our dreams are what keep us so optimistic in such a world that's full of negativity and just hardship. And you know, it's a tough world out there. It is so tough to make it. When you have a dream, it's what gives you that sunny outlook. It's what makes you sleep easy at night, because you have that goal, and it'll make you, your dreams will make you happy. Just follow your dreams and you will lead a fulfilling life. And I know the state of the world, especially the job market, is pretty dire, but look at it as an excuse to go out there and get what you want. Fuck all the haters who tell you, no, like, why are you gonna waste your time doing that? You're never gonna make it. Say, fuck you, I'm gonna make it, because what else am I gonna do? Like, look, do you see people getting hired? Thanks so much for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, etc. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!